Before coming in, I would say on a scale of 1 to 10, my pain level was probably daily at like a 4 to 5. But then if it would get really bad, it would shoot up to a 10. And I hadn't realized how bad it was.
Yeah.
Or how invasive it was in my life until I got to the point where I would go days at a time where I couldn't really do anything with my kids. I couldn't lift them up. I couldn't move my leg very well. I couldn't walk. And then I realized it was a lot worse than just a little pain. I had tried going to a chiropractor. I had tried doing home exercises. I had tried muscle relaxers and pain meds. I had tried all kinds of things, and I even ended up in the ER a couple different times trying to see if they could do something faster. And it was suggested to me to look into surgery to fix my hip, and I didn't want to do that first. I wanted to look at all my other options, and PT was one of them. So before I came to see Justine, I had been in pain on and off for 6 years. And it would go through phases of being extreme and then just kind of like your daily pain. And originally I didn't come because of finances. I thought it would be too expensive or something I couldn't do. But then it also was a combo of not being fully informed of what PT would do or how it would work or how pelvic floor therapy worked either. So not realizing how beneficial it could be. And Justine was able to fill me in on all of that, and that gave me a lot more confidence to give it a try. Even though I wasn't sure what I was walking into, I ended up feeling like she was very competent and knowledgeable, and that made me feel like I was going to get better care. So yeah, when I met Justine, it was just very evident to me how knowledgeable she was, and she was able to explain how everything worked and how everything was connected, which I hadn't really understood. I didn't know anything about pelvic floor therapy, and I only knew some about PT in general. So she was able to go through and show me and explain how things were connected and how they were relevant to the pain I was having, and she was very detailed about how she would go about fixing those issues for me, and that was huge because for me, when I understand, it makes me more willing to try it. So I felt like she knew what she was doing, and that made me feel more confident in what she was doing. So I was able to confidently feel good about moving forward with her. I do really like Justine. I like that she's very easy to talk to, and our sessions end up just kind of being fun. But then on top of that, I love that when I leave, I feel better than when I came in. And I can tell the longer I go between visits that I'm finding myself going, I wish I could go back to PT sooner. Oh, I can't wait for my next PT appointment, because I do feel such a dramatic difference between appointments, and which tells me that it's working, and I like seeing that progress is being made. It makes me want to keep coming back. So I initially came to see Justine because I had, with my pregnancy, my baby was breech, and a doula had recommended her, and we are still working on seeing if my baby will flip head down. He did once, but now he's flipped back up, but we're still working on seeing if he'll flip back down. But during the process, we realized that I had other pelvic floor and hip issues that were probably preventing him from flipping in the first place. And so she was able to find those and pinpoint those, and that made me realize how much daily pain I was actually living with when I hadn't realized it before, because I just thought that's just how my life was going to go.
Yeah.
So as she was able to correct my hip and pelvic floor pain, I realized I didn't have to live in daily pain. So that has been huge, and that's why I continued seeing her even after he did flip head down the first time. My baby's just ornery and flipped head up, so we're trying some more things to get him to flip head down again, but ultimately it ended up being my hip and back and pelvic floor pain that she was able to address that has just made my overall quality of life better. So ever since coming to see Justine and realizing how helpful pelvic floor therapy in particular, but then just overall how helpful PT is, I have recommended her to probably everyone I know, especially anyone who's having a baby or has just had a baby. I have a handful of friends who had never told me that they had been suggested to take pelvic floor therapy, and had just never done it because they thought it would be so awkward or, painful, or they didn't know how to do it or didn't know anybody. And I have highly recommended her because I think she's great, and she makes it completely comfortable, and it's not awkward, and it's really not as bad as people would think, and it's not painful, and it's not all of the things that scare people about PT or pelvic floor therapy. So I have recommended her to pretty much everyone I know, and anyone who doesn't live around here who says that they need PT, and I'm like, just do it.
Yep.